Hi guys, hi friends. So I'm nearing the end of the month here, and I'm doing a little inventory to see what produce I have left. So I just made this fruit salad, which is really yummy. It's some frozen veggies and the last of my grapes and an apple and an orange. So I have that. Down here I still have some of the sweet potato that I cooked the other day. Here I have some of my vegan cheese that I made. That's almost a full block, so I can eat that. And here I took a frozen burrito that I had made back in January. I froze it, so I'll have that to eat. This is still a little bit of my Trader Joe's style roast, a little onion, and I made some soup yesterday. It's got pasta and a whole bunch of different veggie mixes. I put some of my spinach in there. I finished up my spinach today, so that's all gone. And down here, I still have the 3 heads of romaine lettuce, and I have 2 bunches of celery, and this is a daikon radish that I have to eat up. And in here I have carrots, that's almost full, and radishes down there. And I'm out of dog treats again, so I'm giving my puppies carrots, and they love them. They also love romaine lettuce. So, and this is what I'm doing with my carrots, so they're still nice and fresh. So we'll be doing something with those, right guys? Right? Oh boy, yummy. And here comes Chloe. Here, Chloe. Carrot time. No, you don't want a carrot? Oops, okay, eat that one. Guess she's being picky. Anyway, they love carrots, so they'll be getting those as a treat. And so that's what I have left of produce that I bought at the beginning of the month. And this is still looking good. This is the romaine, still green, but it's going to need to be eaten within a few days. And then down here, I still have the tomatoes. Not all of them, I've been using them, and oranges and my apples. So that's what I have in the way of produce. So I have quite a bit of produce left yet. And I bought all this at the beginning of the month. So, yep, guys, that's what we have. We're not going to starve. So today I was out of bread, and I still have bread flour, which I always keep on hand. So I made a loaf of Italian bread, and I'm filtering some water here. I double filter this in the fridge and then in the, it's like the Brita. So I'm making my kombucha. So here's the bread I made, nice and crusty. That'll be the bread up until the rest of the week, and if I need to, I'll make another loaf. This is the tea I made this morning. It's very strong black tea with sugar, a cup of sugar. And I'll be feeding that to my kombucha. That's 8 tea bags in this little, I guess it's a quart saucepan. Now I still have these 2 avocados that are relatively getting soft. They need to be done, so I'm going to make guacamole and freeze it like I did in the last video. And here is my kombucha. And look at the size of that SCOBY. That is how big my SCOBY has gotten. I've really neglected it, and there's more SCOBYs down here. So I'm going to drain most of this off, keep some of it as a vinegar. And the rest I'm going to add the tea I made, and then I'm going to fill the rest up with water. But this is way too much SCOBY in here. So I'm going to just put 1 big SCOBY in here when I'm done, and I'll put the rest in my SCOBY hotel. So that's how it's going with my low spend month, And so far, I'm pretty pleased with what's happening. All right, if you guys are doing a low spend, no spend, let me know in the comments below how you're doing. And if you have any great ideas, share them with the rest of us. So I'll be back later and we'll have a little chat. I'm back. Okay, I want to do something with this kombucha now. Now this is continuous brew, which means you can drink from it too, or you can bottle it and you just keep making more. But like I said, I haven't made kombucha in a while, so this is why my SCOBY's so big. Now you have to have very clean hands, clean bowl, and I'm going to show you how big this kombucha SCOBY got. Because it's actually been a good couple months anyway since I've made kombucha. I don't know why. I really like it, but I just didn't do it. I'm hoping I can get this out of here because it's a small top. But anyhow, you got to go in with your hands and drag. Oh my gosh, this thing is really stiff. But it's really healthy. Okay, come on. This is like giving birth. Come on, you can do it. Push. Oh, here it comes. Oh, good Lord. And one's being left behind, and that's okay because I need to keep one in there anyway. So anyway, this is a very, very healthy SCOBY. You can see there's no mold. There's nothing on it. And these are all layers that you can take apart. So, and under here, this brown stuff is the yeast. So it's a symbiotic, SCOBY is symbiotic culture of yeast and, oh my, I forget. Anyway, SCOBY. And as you can hear, my puppies are voicing their displeasure at somebody walking outside. So, okay, so I have this much left. And what I want to do is maybe leave a tiny bit left at the bottom. So, and then I'm going to pour this very, very strong tea. You can see how dark it is. It's just my preference. I like it really strong. So, I'm going to drain some of this till I just have a little bit left. And yeah, the birth left me messy. So I need to wipe my hands. But anyway, you need to make sure your hands are super clean when you do this because you don't want to introduce any organisms that are going to spoil your brew. All right, I'm going to drain this and I'll be back. All right, so I got a whole jar here and I want to drain some more out because this is very tart. It's like vinegar. So you can make dressings out of this. You can use it in cooking. So I would not throw this out. You really can't drink it. It's that sour. But like I said, it's been fermenting for quite a while. And it's still perfectly fine because there isn't any mold. There isn't any of that going on. So I'm going to drain more of this out so I just have a little bit left because I don't want it that sour. And when I put this sweet tea in there with it and fill it up, that should be good. So I'm going to drain a little bit more of this off. And when I brew this, I cover this little spigot just so that, you know, like with a little piece of plastic and a rubber band, because I don't want any little fruit flies to get in there. Because that did happen to me once. So you want to make sure it's well ventilated, but you don't want to leave any areas where fruit flies can get in. So, and really all you need is maybe a cup of the kombucha, and that's enough to start the fermentation process. Okay, I'm going to call that good. So I got another 2/3 of a thing of kombucha, of the sour stuff. All right, now I left one of the scobies in there. Actually, I think there's a couple in there, and that's fine. I'm going to leave those in there. And I'm just going to pour all this in here. And like I said, this is 1 cup of sugar and 8 tea bags. And then I just heat it up. I stick the tea bags in and I let it get cold. So that's that. And you don't want to stir this up with metal. So I have a plastic spoon here that I'm going to stir this with. And that way we can get it all, the old and the new, incorporated. And I like to steep my kombucha for about 10 days. But taste it. After about 5 to 7 days, taste it. And if you like it sweeter, then that's the time where you start to drink it. So then I'm going to now I double filtered this water. My refrigerator has a filter on it. And this is also a filter. I just want to make sure that there's nothing funny in the water. So I'm just going to fill this up to about here. And I'm going to have to go get some more water. So I'll be back. Okay, I'm back. I'm going to finish with this kombucha. So it's just that easy. It's not anything difficult. It's that easy to brew your own kombucha, and it's very expensive if you continuously buy it. So there we go. So you can get a SCOBY online at Amazon. That's where I got my original one, and then I've just been growing them since then. And as far as the old SCOBYs go, you can compost them. If you have chickens, you can feed them to the chickens, but check that to make sure, but I know people do feed it to their chickens. Like I said before, I've made dog treats out of it. The dogs loved it. So if you don't want to keep all those SCOBYs, then you can make, actually there's different recipes that you can use the SCOBYs in. You can make like a fruit leather kind of thing out of them. Just check online and see if you don't want to throw them out. But that's it. That's it for my kombucha. And then you want to make sure, I usually use a coffee filter. And then I put a nice sturdy rubber band over that. And just to be on the safe side, I also put a tea towel over that. Now this does not like to be stored in the sun. Put it in a cool, dry place and leave it there for at least 7 days. Some people, if you like it really tart, let it go as long as you want, but taste it. So anyway, that's how I make my kombucha. And so I'm going to have a fresh batch of that soon, and I'm excited about that. And then I wanted to talk about my bread. So I got some kombucha vinegar and some kombucha now. Sorry, I need to make some room here. I'm going to freeze these 2 avocados so they don't go bad. And then this is my bread. It's Italian bread. And the recipe came with my bread machine. And my bread machine is a Cuisinart that I've had for years. But I'm going to cut into this. And it was so easy. I mean, the only ingredients, this is just a teaspoon and a half of salt, cup and a half of water, 4 cups of bread flour, and 2 1/4 teaspoons yeast. And I use that, the bread yeast that comes in the jar. And it can't be any easier. So I'm going to cut into this. I love the crust. A lot of people don't like crust, but this is my favorite part. It's like pizza. I love the crust on pizza too. So let me show you how nice this bread is, and it's still a little warm. But isn't it beautiful? And so easy, you know. So try baking your own bread. If you can pick up bread machines in resale shops all the time. You know, people buy them and then they don't use them. And here's my Miyoko's cultured butter that I need to use up. So I just scrape it off and puts a nice blob of Miyoko's butter. I actually have her pantry cookbook, and it tells in there how she makes the cultured butter. And this stuff is not cheap. If you go to buy it, it's pretty expensive. But I know there's coconut oil in there, and I don't know all the ingredients, but I've never made it, but I'd like to. So anyway, there it is. Crunchy. So good. Nothing like homemade bread. All right, so that's kind of my status. Today's the 19th. I won't be posting this till tomorrow or the day after. And there's 8 more days to go in the month. So I still have plenty of food, still have plenty of produce, still have lots of things to cook, so it can be done. Saving money on groceries is one of the easiest and best ways to save money. And you can do that without buying a lot of junk food, without buying a lot of prepared foods, making most things from scratch because it's way healthier, and it's really not that hard, you know. So, all right, I'll be back in a little while and we'll chat some more. All right, so these still look pretty good even though they're getting soft. And this one has a little tiny bit of brown on it. I'll just cut that away. But these will be very good for making guacamole. And it hasn't developed a lot of those strings. You know, when avocados get overripe, they get all those strings. I don't know why. Does anybody know why? If you know why, leave me a comment below and let me know. Now, I know some people will freeze avocados, you know, like in chunks or just in halves. I've never done that, but I like the way it turned out with the making the guac first. So I think I'm going to stick with that for now. Maybe down the road I'll experiment a little more, because I loved experimenting with food. So anyway, sometimes I just peel these, cut them in quarters and peel them, and the skin comes right off. But this time, since I'm mashing them up, I'm just going to scoop them out with a spoon. I love guacamole, and it's so good for you. So, all right, I'll be back in a little bit. Show you how I freeze my guac. Okay, so it's all peeled, and I have one of these little handy dandy mashers, and I use this for guacamole and bananas. It does a great job. I think I got it on Amazon, but I love this thing. It's so cute. All right, I like my guacamole a little on the salty side, so I have like, oh, there's 2 avocados here, so this is probably like, oh, 1/4 teaspoon. It's a real small little thing. So I'm going to put that in there. And this is lemon pepper, and that also has salt in it, so I don't want to put too much of that. So I'm going to put a little less than 1/4 teaspoon of that. And I'm going to give it a good shake of onion powder. Probably about the same amount, so that's good. And then I don't have any fresh lime, but if you have fresh lime or fresh lemon juice, that's the best. But I'm just going to go ahead and give this a good squirt of this lime juice, because this will keep it from turning brown. And depending on how sour you like it, that's how much you should put on. I do it to taste. So I'm going to mash these up. And I like a little bit of chunk left in my guacamole. I don't like it like whipped or anything. Some people whip it. I don't like it like that. So I'm just going to mash this up and mix it up. And then I'm going to put it in these little containers that I've had for years. And cover it with saran wrap. Make sure there's no air holes to get in. And then I'm going to stick it in the freezer. So preserving your food, when you only shop for a month at a time, preserving your food is important, and you have to keep an eye on your produce, because if it starts to go bad, you need to change the packaging, or you need to eat it right away, because otherwise you're not saving any money, you're just throwing your money away. So you have to be mindful of that. And then, you know, if you like to meal prep, kind of have a plan in mind of some of the meals you'd like to make with what you have on hand. I'm not a big one to put Monday I'm eating this, Tuesday I'm eating that. You know, I like to eat what I feel like eating that day. So what I like to do is just either have a mental or a list of meals that I can make with the ingredients that I have on hand. Like, you know, if it was morning, I'd have some avocado toast on my homemade bread. You know, just all different kinds of things. I still have tomatoes. I could put tomatoes on with it. I made some of those little crouton things. So I could have this on that too. So just make a mental note, and as you think of meals for the month, just keep a list going. That helps you too with your grocery shopping, and it keeps like a basic list of the things that you want to get. So anyway, this is how I like my salsa, or my guacamole. It has a little bit of chunk in it, not too much. So that's what I'm going to freeze. And I don't imagine you can leave this frozen for too long. The guacamole I had this morning for breakfast that was frozen was really nice. There was nothing wrong with it. It wasn't watery or anything. So I'm going to fill up this little container. And like I said, I got this idea from the Frugal Minimalist. In my last video, I mentioned Wendy's channel. She's just chock full of great ideas. So there's one, and I imagine I'm going to have to get a few more small containers. I always keep containers around different sizes, because it seems like every time I say, okay, I'm getting rid of all these containers, then I need that size. So I do have a lot of storage containers, but it saves on some of the plastic, even though these are plastic. I don't want to put glass in my freezer because if it falls out, it's going to break. So I probably have enough for one more small one. But anyway, that's what it looks like, and this is enough for a single serving on toast. So now I need to cover that with some saran wrap and pop it in the freezer. Alright, so what you want to do is make sure that your saran wrap goes all the way to the edge, and there aren't a lot of air bubbles in there. You want to smooth that out, and then you pop it in the freezer, and Bob's your uncle. So there we go. And then we're going to double lid it. Isn't that cute? And you know, if you buy these already made in the store, they're not cheap. They're kind of expensive. So I just get a little thing of saran wrap, a little strip of it, and then I cut it in little pieces to fit. And that's that. So this is a great way to extend your food. And you can even pop your greens if you like smoothies. You can pop your greens in the freezer if they're getting ready to go bad. I mean, you wouldn't want to make a salad out of them anymore, but you know, you can take them out and put them in a smoothie, because why not? It all gets mushed up anyway. So that's another way to preserve your greens without throwing them away. I'm not a huge fan of smoothies, but you know, if I had to have a choice between having a smoothie and throwing away my food, I would rather have the smoothie. So, and you can put all kinds of flavors together. So, all right, there we go. Well, I got to go on the hunt for another container for this other little bit. But that's what I did today. So I'll be back later and have a little chat. So I ran out of dog treats again, because, you know, every time there's 3 of them, every time I have to give them each the same thing. So what I ended up doing was I had some tortilla chips, and they were natural tortilla chips. They didn't have a lot of salt and all that on there. And I had a little can of Cheese Whiz left that I like to keep on hand for the dogs in case I need to give them medication or something. I just cover the pill all in Cheese Whiz, and then they never know the difference. They eat them that way. So they had tortilla chips and Cheese Whiz for their nighttime snack, because they let me know when it's time for their goodies. And every day around 6:30, they start bugging me for their treats. So that was what was for their dinner tonight. And it's getting things out of my cupboards and refrigerator, because going forward, what I would like to do is keep less inventory, but more of what I use all the time. So I don't like to buy a whole lot of new things anymore, because a lot of times I buy it and I really don't like it. So in keeping the inventory that I do, there's so many things that I can make with it that I really don't need to buy prepared foods at all anymore, unless I just want to do it for convenience. And I wanted to say too, the kombucha, the vinegar, you want to keep this stored in your refrigerator, because it will continue to ferment, and you know, it releases the gas and you could have it explode. So keep that in the fridge, and let me know if you come up with something really great to make with it. I'm just going to use it the same way that I would use apple cider vinegar, and just make things out of it. All right, well, I really don't have anything else for you today. I just wanted to share how my month is going and how my produce is going, and what I'm doing to save money so that I can do this low spend, no spend month and progress on to next month. And it's just a challenge that I've made for myself. I want to see how much money I can save and how many bills I can get paid off, because like I said before, I was a bad girl and overspent, and now I need to tighten the belt a little bit. So anyway, that's all I have for you today. Please subscribe, like, comment so I can get to know you, and share. And I love you guys. I wish you abundant blessings, and I'll see you next time.